Hi everyone. 2 days in a row. It was live yesterday, live today. Maybe I'll be live tomorrow. Maybe I won't. In any case, we're here right now. It's the morning in Bali. It's the evening in the United States of America. It's really late at night in Europe. It's it's all different kinds of times, and all different parts of the world, and yet it's always right now, and it's so good to be with you right now and right here in this beautiful moment. I really don't feel like talking anymore. I really just feel like being present with you. Hey, Claire. Claire joining us from the United Kingdom. Yeah, I think that the more we awaken in our consciousness, the less and less words are going to become necessary. Words are, they're too slow. They're not accurate enough. They create a lot of miscommunication and misunderstanding. They're symbols that are pointing at different energetic vibrational frequencies, but they're not the energetic vibrational frequencies. And as we awaken more, we'll just be communicating directly through energetic vibrational frequency, or resting in this resonant field together of presence. What could be called telepathy or psychic. And it's really just direct communion from a field of presence in a unified field, beyond the illusion of separation. So, as we evolve on this journey together and awaken on this journey, I feel like there's going to be less and less words, more presence, and direct communication beyond words. And yet, there's still some words right now. And there's the invitation to feel beyond the words. To really rest into being here together beyond the words. I have some public events coming up. You can check the link to see where I'm going to be. I'm going to be in a few different parts of the world over the next few weeks, including Tokyo, including North Carolina, including the Urban Mystic Retreat with John and Dale, April 1st to the 4th in Asheville, including South Florida. Personal sessions are available online, anytime, anywhere. Just send me a message. There's packages. So when we're present, when we're in this relaxed state of attentiveness, when we're in this space of availability, when our heart is open, when our mind is open, when we're an open, clear channel for this moment to move through us, the intelligence of this moment to move through us, the universal creative intelligence, also known as God, to move through us, when we're open-hearted, open-minded to receive who and what is presenting itself to us each moment, when we're fully, wholly available without any sense of separation, division, resistance. Then that vibrational frequency emits out and is an invitation to the rest of humanity to open up and rise to this space with us. It's a space where nothing needs to be done, nothing needs to be undone, nothing needs to be changed, nothing needs to be altered, nothing needs to be rearranged. Nothing's ever happened, nothing ever will happen, nothing needs to happen, nothing needs to not happen. It's a space of absolute wellness with what's here and what's now, what's been referred to historically as spiritual awakening or self-realization or spiritual liberation or enlightenment or whatever other pointers reference a space of resting fully, wholly, deeply in the essence of who you truly are and emanating that vibration out to the rest of the human condition. And when you're in this space, you are of the highest benefit to the whole, to all beings everywhere, when you're resting in the unique expression of who you are and in love with the unique expression of who you are in the here and now. Regardless of what you say or do or don't say or think or don't think or feel or don't feel. You could be a janitor, you could be a politician, maybe. I'm joking, yeah. You could be a politician, you could be a janitor, you could be an athlete, you could be a spiritual teacher, you could be a life coach, you could be a school teacher, you could be a stay-at-home mother, you could be a secretary, you could be a maid, you could be a CEO, you could be an online entrepreneur. It doesn't matter what the expression is. What's most important is realizing the essence of who you are and being a clear channel for it to move through you in this dimension of time and space. That's the highest benefit you can give to the world. To be in a space where you're, hey Frankie, to be in a space where you're stressed out and you're anxious and you're worried and you're angry and you're frustrated because you're trying to make a positive difference in the world, because you're trying to fight the bad people, because you're trying to get rid of the bad guys, because you're trying to get rid of the Illuminati, because you're trying to get rid of the elites. All of this is a waste of energy, not true, and not helpful. Even though it may seem like it is, when you go deeper into a space of present moment awareness, the only thing that really matters, the most essential element that matters, is not the story of you or the story of what you're doing or the story of what other people are doing or the story of who they are. What matters is the space that you're in this present moment, and that's it. This moment is all there is. So if you're in a space of anger in this moment, you're sharing that anger with the world. If you're in a space of frustration, you're sharing that frustration with the world. If you're in a space of stress, you're sharing that with the world. If you're in a space of anxiety, you're sharing that with the world. If you're in a space of hatred, you're sharing that with the world. If you're in a space of any kind of ill will, you're sharing that with the world. It doesn't matter if there's a story attached to it that, oh, in the end, it's going to be for a good cause, or I'm trying to make something good happen in the world. You know, if you're an angry, stressed out, hateful person that's trying to create solar panels around the world, what you're really creating is anger, stress, and hatred. And maybe some solar panels, maybe not. But what's essential is what's being disseminated now, communicated now, and expressed now in this moment. So when we recognize and realize this, we realize the doing is secondary and the being is primary. The doing has its place, the doing has value, but the doing is secondary, the being is primary. I told the story of going through a toll booth. This was like outside of, this is in the San Francisco Bay Area. I come up to a toll booth, and I come to give my few dollars to the toll attendant. And I come up, and there's this very big, very tall, large, indigenous man at the toll booth, and his face, he's beaming. He's in such a space of absolute radiance, such a space of some kind of a relaxed, innocent ecstasy. And he looked at me, and he's fully present with me, and he smiled, this luminous, radiant smile, and he said, "Thank you." And I was with this man for like 30 seconds of my life, and the vibrational frequency, the consciousness that transmitted from him, from his heart, from his being, made a profound difference at that time. I was young on my journey at that time. Made a profound difference in my life. It was an invitation to me. It showed me what's possible. Now imagine how many people throughout the day are coming in contact with this man, right? The toll attendant, the toll booth attendant. And the invitation's there for every person that comes in contact with him for a moment or two. And then we could have someone that's a political leader of a nation or a CEO of a company who's in a great state of stress and anxiety and frustration and anger, and that's the energy that's being emitted out. So it's easy in the Western world to get so caught up in the means to an end, right? To get caught in the doing as a means to an end, and forgetting that the being is primary. The being is primary. And to relax in the being, into the essence of who you are, and to share that authentic essence of who you are with the world and invite others to open up to this space is the highest benefit that we can give to others and the greatest invitation we can ever offer to others, just in the essence, the essence of who we are. Whether we say a word or don't say a word, whether we say something or don't say anything, just in our presence. We're the frequency holders. So that's, in the primary essence, what this series is a space for us to delve into this presence together and to be in this presence together, to anchor into it more and more and to share it with the world. And we get into some other things too. We get into some different fun, interesting things, yet this sense of being is always what's primary. And in the land that I come from, there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of divisiveness, there's a lot of contentiousness, there's a lot of disillusionment, there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of loneliness. And so this space is important. This space is important to remember, to re-anchor into the essence of who we really are, and to realize that this essence of who we really are is always available, because it's who we are. If it wasn't always available, it wouldn't be who we are. But we forget, we get lost in distractions, things that aren't really, from the wider perspective, worth getting stressed out over, getting anxious over, getting worried over, getting wrapped up in fear, anger, frustration over. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Thank you, Janky. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Are you in Oroville, Janky? Frankie says, we need to be in love and shine that light. Yes, you know what's so interesting about that is the ability to be in love is always present. So there's this sense that you need the right person or the right conditions or the right situation or the right circumstances. And really what's primary is to discover that this love is the essence of who you are. And to be in love with who you are and what you are and the essence of who you are. Not just the story of who you are, but the essence of who you are. And to be in love with this moment, regardless of the way it's expressing itself. Unconditionally in love with this moment, regardless of the way it appears, the way it looks. And that's what it comes down to. Where do you live, Janky? It comes down to being in love with this moment. And this moment is not that hard to be in love with. It seems like it's hard when the resistance is built up and there's this strong positionality that something different should be happening than it is. But when you relax in this moment's not that hard to be in love with. It's actually the easier thing to do. It's much easier to be in love with this moment than not to be in love with this moment. It's much easier to be in love with this moment than not to. So really feel the profound truth of that. That to resist this moment, to fight it, to struggle against it, to rail against it, is very difficult and very tiring and exhausting. And to be in love with this moment is a much easier option. Thank you for that, Janky. It's not so much about reprogramming the thought patterns as being in love with the thought patterns that are currently here. Does that make sense? So there's a sense of, I want to change my thought patterns. There's nothing wrong with reprogramming our thought patterns. Our thought patterns are being reprogrammed all the time. We're constantly evolving, growing, shifting, shaking, moving, learning new things. So our thought patterns are being reprogrammed if we're engaging in life and we're developing as a human being. And they don't need to be reprogrammed to be in love with this moment. There's an unconditional love with this moment as it is, regardless of whatever the thoughts are that are arising, whatever the programs are that are arising, whatever the conditioning is that's arising. You be in love with this, right here and now. So that's the exploration, that's the invitation, that's the experimentation, that's the process of discovery, that's the teaching, that's where life happens. It's happening now. So to be in love with this now as it is, whatever it is, that's the most amazing thing. Is that, so many spiritual awakenings happen in prison, right? Happen when people are in a space of tremendous hardship, or people are feeling suicidal, or they're depressed, or they're at the edge of their drug addiction or alcohol addiction. There's a space of this liberation that's actually not dependent upon the mind. It's not dependent upon thought. It's not dependent upon the experience that's happening. It comes into being. And it comes into being when there's a sense of giving up, right? Giving up, trying to change, trying to control, trying to manipulate, all these things that the ego does. And there's a moment of respite from that. And there's a moment of just relaxed awareness into what is, without knowing it should be any different or feeling it should be any different than it is. Thank you all so much for being here. See you in the next now.